Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Michael. I have a 2004 Ford Escape, but what I'm going to talk about today is, like, I went to get a tune-up for $750 or $600 or whatever. I did it for $2 or $250. I went to get a fuel pump, 2004 Ford Escape, 2001 through probably 2007 or higher, $600 for the fuel rail, to work on the fuel rail, to work on the fuel pump. Now, your parents have to do that, or your dad has to do that, or the older guy next door, but you can read it right off the internet, everything to do. That's my point. We're just going to look at a few things today. Okay, the other thing is the emissions in California. That's the air. Those are all these air tubes here. That's emissions, okay? $80 to $129 to check your emissions, to tell you there's one hose missing. There's one hose off, it's sucking in too much air, it's throwing a code. He's going to charge you $80 to $129 to check the emissions, the air. Then you have the electrical system, the spark plugs. There's 3 of them right here. He's going to charge you $175 an hour to check your electrical system on the diagnostic machine. When you can go to the place where you can check your engine, put the thing in there, get a computer printout, it's going to print out P401, some code. And what's that code saying? It's telling me the exact spark plug that is right here that take me about 15 minutes to change. But you're going to pay $179 an hour for electrical check. There's the emission check, the air, and then there's the electrical. Hold. Hey everybody, right now I'm going to show you the paperwork that you're going to get on the computer printout once you go to this place to plug your car in and get the computer printout. But first I just want to say that we can't have college students and nursing students and just some kid that doesn't have the $600 to fix his car and get it on the road, when he can go pay $40 or $38 or $72 to get the registration and the smog and everything. We have to help wherever we can. That's what I think, okay? Hi everybody. Okay, I pulled it together. We're going to talk today about Bank 1 and Bank 2. Okay, these are the terms you're going to see on the computer readout when you go have your car ridden, when you get your computer readout from the guy at the auto parts store. We're going to see Bank 1 and Bank 2. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you with the paperwork. We're also going to see upstream and downstream. Upstream, top of the engine, downstream, down toward the exhaust pipe. And then we're also going to talk about rich and lean. Now let's talk about rich and lean right now. Okay, rich and lean. What we're talking about is fuel and air, right? The two things that they check for. The air emissions, $80 to $129. Okay, we're talking about fuel and air, rich and lean. Now, out of fuel and air, which one sounds like it would be rich out of the two? It seems like the fuel would be richer than air. So the rich is the fuel. The rich is the fuel. The air is the lean, okay? The rich is the fuel. The air is the lean. Now the air is the lean, which means one air hose came out. It's sucking too much air in. You got to put that hose back, find that hose, put that hose back on there, because it's making too much air go to the engine. It's making it think that it's lean. It's not going to be too rich, at least not normally, because the fuel is electronically delivered to the engine. So it's usually going to be lean. Hopefully it's lean. So we're going to go over it on the paperwork. I just want to get that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we go. The first thing we're going to look at is Bank 1 and Bank 2. Bank 1 and Bank 2. Here's your engine. Here's 3 cylinders hidden back there under the plenum chamber. And here's 3 spark plugs you can see as soon as you lift your plastic cover. Okay? This is not the firing order. Find the firing order in your car. Look it up on Google. See the firing order. There's going to be, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from top to bottom. So there's going to be a 1 right here, a 1 cylinder up here, and a number 2 cylinder down here. Okay, so bank 1 is the cylinder line that has the number 1. Bank 2 is the cylinder line that has the number 2 on it. So you can find out which spark plug it is, okay? Now, upstream and downstream, what they did was they took the engine we've had for 100 years, and they just went to the top and the center, and they put sensor on the other side too. Sensor, one back behind the engine, and then down to the exhaust pipe, okay? So, say upstream and downstream. See, there's an oxygen sensor here, and there's an oxygen sensor behind the engine. And they say it's the oxygen sensor, and it's the one downstream of the PCV valve, which is on top. It's the one downstream. See, this is upstream, and you're going to see downstream. It's the CO2, it's the O2 sensor that is just downstream of the whatever this sensor is, see? You got to figure out what sensor is where, right? Because this sensor could be bad. This sensor could be hooked to that hose that you didn't put on under the hood, and it's sucking in bad air. That hose this is the sensor for it. It checks it before it gets to the O2 sensor. It's saying the O2 sensor is bad, but no, the hose is missing, and this sensor that is watching the emissions is telling this O2 sensor it's bad, but that's not bad. It's the hose, see, on top that you have off. It's telling this sensor it's sucking too much air. Okay, moving on. Okay. Rich and poor we just talked about. I was always dyslexic about that. For some reason, I couldn't figure out which one, but now I explained to you guys, I got it good now. It's rich and lean, air and water. Which is more rich, air or water? Well, the fuel. The fuel is going to be the rich, the air is going to be the lean. It's like a puzzle, it's like a puzzle. And remember to tell you about that spark plug that's making your car miss or throwing a code, boom. That's for the electrical. For the air, that hose that's missing, can't afford that. Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, now, we're working our way down. Okay, that's the plastic cover that comes off the top of your engine, and then there's another black cover that's covering those back spark plugs. Be really careful if you go to change those spark plugs, be really careful, because when you move that black cover back there, and don't mind this thing that's in the way, just pull it out of the way, it'll shove back in there. But don't lift that black thing too high, because I broke some wires back here. When I lifted it and tied it up, I broke 2 wires, and I had to go to the wiring harness and solder them. So as you lift this thing up, be careful those wires. Pull on the harness or something a little bit up or something. Okay, now, let me just see where we are here. Okay, that on the top left right there is the Ford Escape engine. No mechanic has ever touched my car except for the alternator, and I'll do that myself next time, because I just figured all this stuff out. And sometimes, I went and bought all these parts that were all wrong, and I'd be really careful when I have a part. No matter if I try it or not, I'm extremely careful and keep it shiny and perfect so I can return it if I need to. But see, here's all the sensors. The PCV valve is up here, and you can reach it. It's a real pain in the butt, but you can reach that PCV. And here's all the other sensors and stuff. Okay, so if you detail the engine, you'll know every single piece of it. And, okay, watch my other videos, everybody. It's What's Mikey's Trip on YouTube. That's Mikey with 2 E's. Thank you so much, and hang in there, everybody.